Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. You're back with the Lone Wolf. I thought today I would present a web article from Quora.com basically talking about why men don't approach women anymore and what happened to the good old days of the British gentleman. This is from a while ago because I've had it in my bookmarks for a long time, and it's really quite interesting, some of the responses. So I just thought I'd take everyone through these responses and sort of comment on the individual ones. So first off, we've got Vishwanath Sastry, and he provides a really nice introduction as to why men are just leaving the game and focusing on their own things and their own lives. He says, why should we? Except in certain social situations, there are several reasons why most men don't approach women anymore. Number one is creep shaming. So unless you're an extremely confident and swaggering extrovert, you have a fear of being creep shamed even if you look normal and not creepy. It has everything to do with attraction. If she's not attracted to you and a horrible person overall, then the chances of you being humiliated and creep shamed rise a lot. Some women are extremely harsh when turning down men. It's some sadistic pleasure for them. 2, fear of rejection. Like the first point, if a guy is socially awkward and insecure, then the fear of rejection is more. As I said above, some guys have been rejected in extremely harsh ways, which prevents them from approaching women. Number 3 is fear of being accused. This sounds paranoid, but some guys are quite wary of approaching women after the increase in false molestation cases being lodged. Women have a lot of power and can easily misuse our biased Indian laws. And then playing hard to get is number 4. Some women play mind games. The famous phrase "no means no" has been ingrained in our brains, so when a woman rejects a guy's advances, he moves on. This perpetual cycle makes men tired of women's BS. No, not this again is a thought that runs in men's minds when they're played for the millionth time. And then the 5th and 6th, the woman seems unapproachable. She might be wearing earphones, working on a laptop or drinking coffee while reading a book, which means that she doesn't want to be disturbed, so men leave her in peace. And then dating apps make things much easier, but as I've said before, I would disagree with him on this point, because dating apps are just a waste of time, energy and resources for most people. He finishes with, finally, because it's the current year, why should a guy buy you a drink? Buy him a drink if you like him, or buy your own damn drink. Don't have these expectations that men are supposed to X things. Neither gender is entitled to the other approaching him or her. You like a guy, go approach him. Equality. So yeah, I think he's hit it pretty much out of the ballpark there. When you add all of these different factors in, like the creep shaming, the chance of rejection, fear of accusations, it's weighing up on the scale, and it's just not worth it. It really is not worth it for what you get on the other side of the equation. Miguel de Groot comes in with a different perspective, and he basically says, because there are no proper places to politely approach women without being creepy, where would you even meet people? At the library, at the bar, at the other random place that is hip with the kids? All of these places are either completely empty or extremely loud. How would you even approach someone? At the library, you'd have to bother someone while they're browsing stuff. And if you do bother them, it's a library, it's quiet, and everyone's going to hear it. So if you do get rejected, you're going to be embarrassed in front of the entire library. Yeah, they'll politely talk to you, but they will usually be in somewhat of a hurry. The library is no longer a place where people come to relax and read a book. If someone approached me as I was browsing some books, I'd probably politely nod and try to get the hell out of there. At the bar and events, it's very likely that it's going to be very loud. Yeah, exactly. So you can't engage in any sort of conversation or put your charisma or vibe across, because you have to scream in someone's ear. People just go there to have fun with their friends and dance or drink lots of alcohol, not to mention that in order to chat with other girls, things tend to get oddly physical, as you can't talk properly through all the noise. Yeah, exactly. At the bus or train, people will just want to get to their destination already. They are usually tired from work or just woke up. Yeah, they won't have time to talk to random strangers and grab a cup of coffee. Yeah, we're all in so much of a hurry these days that just going up and bothering someone in the middle while they're trying to get on with their day is a risk, or if you're the other party, you'd be like, what the hell's going on? At the shopping mall, you'll have a higher chance of getting people to go for a small cup of coffee. They're already near multiple places you can eat at, and they've already allocated a certain amount of time to do some shopping and other stuff. However, how easy do you think it is to approach a random stranger and ask them for lunch? Unless you're extremely confident, there are much better ways to find people to date. Well, yeah, I mean, it's the online dating game is basically the only game in town. But as I've said before, you're talking 10-15% of people, like men, are actually successful on that. So a lot of men, like good men, good, nice, kind, good-hearted men are being left behind. At school, students are busy enough as it is. Many studies tend to have mainly men or mainly women as their participants. I studied in IT, and I've only seen 1 or 2 girls among the 130 students who took these classes. Similarly, a different department that was a few floors down about healthcare had nothing but women. We've never communicated because we're always busy. And he fleshes out a few more of these themes quite well. Because people are busy with their studies and work and don't have time for dating, people between the ages of 18 and around 26 tend to study and often have a side job in the weekends. Often enough, they won't have much time to start actively dating women, so therefore they won't ask them out. And even if they do ask them out, it's normal to go fairly slow. Only until I finished with my studies did I finally have more free time, but for so many men out there, this is the most busy period in their lives, as they also have to try and find their own place and provide for themselves. Dating websites have become available. Women become offended when people approach them, and women also started approaching us. He says his own girlfriend approached him first. I was just casually playing games online where she was watching me play through a live stream. She started flirting with me and I responded in kind. In the end, I think we talked multiple times in the course of the next 3 weeks before deciding to meet each other. I've also been approached on other occasions, but the key here was that I was in areas where I could easily be approached, whether it was on forums, games, conventions, and I've been approached plenty of times. I think I've approached 50 plus girls, of which only around 10 or so really struck me as interesting. How often was I approached? Around 5 times or so. The best relationships I've had were when it was the woman who approached me, not those where I approached them. Women often play hard to get and play games. And he concludes, men still approach women, just not as much as before. And honestly, men still approach women more than they really should. Women should approach men when they see someone interesting. Similarly, men should approach women who seem interesting. Women should not try to lure men into approaching them. They could, but this should not be their way of getting men to approach you. We're equals, therefore you should approach us just like we. Yeah. But how often does that happen? I think in my life to this point, I've been approached once, and that's it, once. And I'll probably cover that in another video. In dating, it doesn't really pay to invest very heavily into a woman who doesn't pretty quickly reciprocate with at least some level of interest. Seriously, Pride and Prejudice isn't a good model of how things go in reality. I ain't Mr. Darcy, and I'm really not going to work that hard to one-sidedly impress someone that I don't really know. If you play that hard to get in reality, I'm probably just going to walk away. It's the 21st century. If you see a guy sitting around, you want to have a drink with him, offer to buy him a drink. The worst that can happen is he'll say no. Guys have been doing this for years. It's kind of scary, but it can be fun once you give it a try. And you might even like him enough to have another drink or go get some dinner. This guy, Adam, has some good insights. Nice men don't approach and try to tell you they don't because it differentiates them from jerks, assholes, and bad boys, but really, that's their psychological scripts rationalising their game, pimping their image as good guys and nice guys. Other men had enough of the mind games, and women, most of them, a lot of them do play mind games, do S-tests, do manipulate, do approach dating even for not dating, but for ego stroking, transactional games, and even revenge. So most men can't be bothered with it either. He's talking about a guy who is a creator, who attracts women. Women aren't a priority in his life. He likes his freedom very much. It's less drama, less BS, less of a lot of things most men do. He's very knowledgeable in human psychology. He's gone off on a tangent here. I don't really know what he's talking about. But I think he's talking about maintaining independence and just viewing dating and women as secondary concerns, which is probably that is what you should do. Martin says, women can and sometimes do totally blank your approach. Literally ignore you. You can hold a door for them and they blank you. Rude. Probably because they might get a lot of annoying guys coming onto them. Still, it's not worth the dismissal on your ego. A lot of women nowadays have this strange air of entitlement that means you have to almost beg for an opportunity. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think I'm going to beg for a chance to take you out, pay for everything, give up my time to have a really crap encounter, most dates I've been on have been pure garbage. Yeah, and then you've got an entitled attitude to boot, and I will cover this on the channel. There was a date I went on maybe 3 years ago now that was a complete joke. I will actually cover it on the channel. Yeah, John Salvatore just says it's not worth it anymore, and he is absolutely correct. Most women have become a parasite-like creature. All the typical things they want are looks, personality, money, social status, which is super important. Conversation skills. These traits are the ones a woman would want in a man. Of course, not all, but at least 2 or 3. I think you'd be surprised. In the West, I think they basically want everything, and obviously hypergamy means that they will trade out to go up. And I'm not saying hypergamy doesn't exist in men. There's a few commentators who've said that it does, and men would be looking to trade up as well. But I think the factors that motivate men to trade up are completely opposite of, when a man is not going to change his partner out because he finds there's someone else who earns more money. It doesn't happen. Technology. Today's men, including myself, are growing up in an environment which they won't learn the art of being a man. What I mean by this is simply the distraction of the world around us, like phones, social media, partying and drinking all night, using drugs. By the time they become 18, they haven't figured out what to do with their lives, and that's not the problem. The problem is they don't care. Back in the day, my father used to work with his dad at age 16, learned how to be a man, how the world works. Now father figures have been shut down by society, by technology. Kids no longer want to spend time with their fathers so they can learn from them. Yeah, and there's so many single-parent households as well. There's no dad around. And testosterone levels are dropping globally. So the masculine side is, and it's not just that, but the masculine side is completely discriminated against and spat on by society in general. So when it's not valued, you'd be surprised. There's no surprise why it's gone away. Confidence. Men need to work extra hard nowadays to gain their confidence because they've been told who they should be and who they should not be by society. So this keeps men from being their true self, and so they won't approach blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think a lot of these guys are talking about self-preservation as well. Putting shield. You basically need to put shields up. And I know that women can do that as well when they have the B shield. But dudes need to absolutely have shields, 100%. Because if you make the wrong decision with this sort of thing, it can end your entire career, can end your life. So people are just being vigilant. That's why men aren't approaching. They're just not. It's self-preservation, man. It's being responsible. It's a rational decision that they make. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I hope you found some value in going through some of these comments. I just thought I'd change it up and go through some different things here. But I thought this article was quite interesting. Obviously, just an opinion piece where people are sharing their reasons or their speculation as to why this is happening. But certainly, men aren't approaching anymore, and I don't blame them at all. It's certainly a lifestyle that I've chosen to take. So I just focus on me and my own interests and business interests. Okay, I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks.